Whoa, welcome. I am late as hell. I don't know how long I'm going to be awake for, but we are going to try to do this. Let us get ourselves back to it. Let's continue reading. The Dire Soar. Being a creature of dubious origin, either a wyvern that has lost its wings or a creature of the water that is that became like to a worm. Sheathed in armor-like scales, its upper body is highly muscular, serving to support a giant head set with powerful jaws. It uses the horn on its nose to charge and stab like a long spear. Talk about town. Did you know that servants are only legally allowed to wear garments of a certain fabric? Turns out this law is a relic of the time when it was necessary to differentiate slaves from their owners. Perhaps it still serves as the same function today. Funny thing is, servants have to wear the self-same fabric used to make slaven harnesses. 'Tis an evil law, perpetuated by evil people. Remo, Spearman. Tyrannorocks. Being a creature tough as stone, draped in scales hard as granite rock, and bearing orange coloration on its upper body. While evolution has favored its hind legs with speed and strength, its forelimbs have shrunk, developing sharp claws for the tearing of hide and flesh. The name of the Tyrannorax, meaning one who frightens the very rocks, comes from the great saurian's habit of eating wee creatures that dwell in the crevices of Rocky Mountain ranges, often swallowing a mouthful of rock in the process. Nephesite. A variety of magicite with the unusual property of absorbing mist, thereby nullifying the effects of magic. Though there is some mention of nephesite in ancient tomes, it had been thought lost or perhaps consumed, with no mention or record appearing for several centuries. Sky pirates call it the magicite of legend. Latterly, methods for manufacturing nephesite have been developed in Arcades, and at the time of writing, several test samples are in active use. Slaven Warder. Being beasts once used to pull freight sledges filled with heavy materials over rough mountainous terrain, with innovations in transportation they grew scarce and now only a few remain and these feral. Stores of fat under the thick hide of their backs provided sustenance when famine visited the cold, barren climes where once they worked. Observers have attested to the impressive efficacy of these deposits, individuals having reportedly survived for over a year without nourishment. The Art of Collecting. Excerpt. Those who are slaves to another, be they humanoid, human, or beast, must wear a harness with the brand of their master, proving ownership. Most such brands bear the mark of noble houses, and amongst them can occasionally be seen the crests of houses long since fallen. Scholars and collectors covet the harnesses of such forgotten dynasties, either for their historical value or merely for their rarity. Of these, the Slaven harness is the most prized. Nightwalker. Thus are called those reapers, deities of death, that wander the darkness, devouring the souls of men. Some are known for the strength of their blades, others for the strength of their magics. They are feared as demons for their cruelty, and indeed the sight of them devouring a man's soul is said to be worse than a lifetime of torture. Yet oddly, the expressions left upon the faces of those whose souls have been devoured are not masks of pain, but of beatific calm. This has led some to speculate that it is not perhaps the inferno to which they bear their victims, but paradise. Python. Living in dry, mountainous regions, the mouth of the python has developed this distinctive narrowed shape to better probe the rocky cracks where its prey makes their nests. From neck down the midriff, its body is split into two identical curves, each containing an elongated stomach with powerful digestive capabilities. With these, can it process large quantities of food despite its slender form. Its bony scales are azure in hue and much resemble lusterless metal. On the dissection of beasts, take the serpent in all her varieties. Surely, her most salient feature is to be found in the curvature of her fangs. Lo, the great serpent's fang, as it is called, is the most delicate carving of a great snake unto itself. The merest glance upon its form maketh one feel as though the serpent holds you in its eye and you are lost. Perhaps this accounts for the popularity of the serpent motif amongst criminals and those of a violent disposition. Close the browser. I just realized. Ashworm. Being a variety of fell worm, feared since antiquity for its unsurpassed ferocity and strength. The restraining ring set about its body is ensorcelled with interwoven magics for enforcing servitude. But what being could have pressed such a creature into slavery, if not the gods themselves? Many are the alchemists and wizards who have spent sleepless nights struggling in vain to understand the mechanism by which these collars once functioned. Vulture. Being a variety of diver living primarily in arid mountainous regions, skilled at riding the updrafts high up in the air, whence it spots its prey and plummeting downward for the kill. Having wing tips the shade of purple oft seen in highland flora, this being a clear indication of long years spent in adaptation with its environs. Its long beak, too, is evidence of this, the shape being perfectly suited for the fishing out of smaller creatures from between the rocky crags. The hunter's companion. The true hunter looks upon the vulture with envy and deepest respect. That the very word hunter comes from this diver's name is well known. Thus does the hunter strive to improve his eyesight above all else, until the day his eyes surpass the eye of the hawk itself. Being a fire elemental. Being an elemental of flame, born in the midst of a blazing inferno, appearing most often in mountainous regions where life abounds. The strength of flame gives power to much life, and can occasionally be a path to new knowledge. For this reason do the alchemists worship fire as the muse of creation. Aletap murmurs. I heard from a friend about how you make the weapon known as the ivory pole. Now it's an expensive piece of kit, as I'm sure you know, but I bet you didn't know that blood-darkened bone is used to make it. Apparently, you take a bone and polish it for a full fortnight with a demon feather. From the look of the finished product, you'd never imagine what went into it, would you now? Maxim the Bandit. Marlborough King. Being the highest rank of Marlborough and wearing a crown to prove it, it is still unknown how it came to wear its crown or who indeed made it. There is a rumor which claims that should a man slay it and put on his crown, he will be at once transformed into a Marlborough King. Should this be true, it could very well mean that the crown is cursed with the vilest of magics, and the beast that wears it was once a man. Tragedy of Nabudis. 2 years passed, Nabradia, fearing the military might of the Arcadian Empire, made treaty with Rosaria to place troops. From that land near her borders. Place troops from that land near her borders. Fearing an invasion of the Valendian continent by its sworn enemy Rosaria, Arcadia immediately exerted political pressure on the small kingdom, yet Nabradia did not accede to their demands, and Emperor Gramus of Arcadia was compelled to use force. Several days after the Arcadian invasion, a terrible explosion reduced the once proud city of Nabudis to naught but rubble. Though the city fell in the space of a night, the mist that now swirls where it once stood has transformed the land into a barren waste for eternity. Even now, the cause of this cataclysm is not fully understood. Antares, being a variety of mantis living primarily in large forests, known for its insatiable appetite, this voracious beast can consume up to 5 times its own weight in the space of a single day. It dines primarily on creatures of middling size, such as chocobos, known to hide among stands of white trees, there to wait in ambush for its prey. Piranha, being an ichthon favoring winds of high salinity, using its large fins to ply the air as if 'twere water. The sharply pointed bone on its head, much like to a spear, is ideally suited for goring prey from the sky and fending off the attacks of the pyrolisk. Its sharp wedge-like teeth are impelled by a muscular lower jaw, so well developed that it dwarfs the upper, contributing to the creature's intimidating appearance. Fawn Coast, coastal region lying along the Fawn Straits which divide Arcadia from Nabradia. Praised for its beautiful beaches of white sand and lush greenery, a hunter's camp along the coast attracts adventurers and headhunters, forming a community where they might exchange information and rest between expeditions. Air Elemental. Being an elemental of the air and the pure breezes that blow through the world. The wind carries fragrance, the seeds of flowers and trees, yet it can also spread fire and pestilence. For the wayfarer, oh my god. The god of the journey sets the winds to blow in a favorable direction. And for the merchant, the god of trade fills the sails of trading vessels to carry goods to their destination. For this reason, the air elemental is revered beside the gods themselves in many places. For this reason, are air elementals revered. Earth Elemental. Being an elemental of Earth, the essence of any land supporting life. Certain sects worship these elementals as a sacred force that ties men to the land, and they give thanks to the elementals for rich soil and good harvests. Lands with parched soil, devoid of vegetation, are thought to be those where the earth elementals have been eradicated, and no longer protect the soil from depletion. Is steel. Being a variety of bat with wings of surpassing beauty, preferring to make their abodes in magicite mines and underground chambers. Their wings are composed of a tough metallic substance, and by their patterns can males and females be distinguished. It is generally held that the patterning of the female is the more beautiful, lending the wings much popularity as ornamentation on airships. The males, meanwhile, being considered ill-favored and shunned as a sign of bad luck. Few things bring to mind ill luck so readily as a vampire fang. Yet the things are famous among apothecaries and their ilk as a vital ingredient in wards and charms against curses. Apparently, not just any fang will do the trick. I'd have no idea how to tell a vampire fang from a regular pointy one if I had to look into such a mouth, and I do hope I never have the pleasure. If you want one, you'd best be ready to grope around in some pretty nasty places. Maybe you'll get your fang yet. Maybe you'll lose a few fingers in the process. Either way, count me out. Gorgamera. Being a man who, consumed by magics, discarded the worn husk of his body and took refuge in the body of Cockatrice, thereby forming the fell creature known as the Gorgamera. Living in dim, dry underground caverns, corridors, and the like. Living in dim, dry underground caverns, corridors, and the like, their distinctive, scaly visage is horrifying to look upon, and their wings, which spread to reveal mesmerizing eye patterns, draw others into the twisted world of their wholly corrupted minds. Yeah, that face is awful. The Hunter Camp. Of the many hunters roaming Evil East, the best of the best, seeking out the rarest of marks, are known to gather in a camp along the Fawn Coast. Unlike clans, the hunters that collect here have no leader, and all information exchanges, activities to support the camp, and payments for such are handled on an individual basis. Folklore. Being a flesh-eating ichthon, easily identified by its brown striped hide, this fish fiend's jaws gape open like a crescent moon, revealing row upon row of razor-sharp, wedge-shaped teeth. Its scales are made of a metallic substance and are extremely hard. Known for its aggressive nature and sensitivity to the scent of blood. Deadly Nightshade. Being a mandragora with a head like a red tomato, hailing from the eastern highlands, changing climates brought them down to the lowlands. Many are the treatises written by natural philosophers attempting to trace the roots of the strange black and white markings covering their bodies, reminiscent of the clothes worn by prisoners. Draklor Laboratory. Weapons Research Laboratory, located a short distance from the administrative district in the northeast of Arcades, sponsored by the Arcadian Imperial Army, with Dr. Tsadolphus Demon Bunansa as its head researcher and maker of policy. Research is divided among airship design projects, sundry weapons projects, and magical endeavors. In recent years, particular attention has been paid to magicite research, with great strides being made in the manufacturing of magicite and improved methods for drawing energy from the stones. A strict security system is in place to ensure that none of the knowledge in Dracula Laboratory leaves its words without authorization. Tartarus, being a beast with fur of deep green with a white geometrical pattern of great beauty thereupon. Originally living in the depths of the underworld, they evolved to look like the virulently poisonous tartar fronds of hell, thereby to avoid predation. The Tartarus are as evil and violent as that upon which they feed, souls condemned to hell's bottom. The Feywood, an ancient wood deep in the jungles of Galmar. The combination of dense mist and regular snow the latter a product of the region's elevation, is enough to keep away even the Viera. Many of the trees have stood for several thousands of years, and some have begun to petrify. Numerous plants once thought extinct grow here, and many rare birds and animals can be seen in their primitive forms, unchanged for millennia. Moo. Curious moo makes its home in the ancient trees of the Feywood. Their nests are made by boring holes in the tree trunks, whence they peer out to watch for danger. Spending all their waking lives beneath the shade of the trees, their bodies are pale and colorless. So close is their affinity for the trees that some communities consider them to be tree spirits. Basilisk. Being a variety of serpent, able to maintain its body temperature regardless of its environs, preferring to live in colder regions, is two distinctive scale patterns on its breast, which are said to be the result of interbreeding between two strains of serpent. As its body is covered with scales of surpassing smoothness, it is able to move quickly through areas of deep snow. In the dissection of beasts, a single piercing gaze from that eye turneth the hale body into stone, or so it is said. The serpent eye men calleth it, and with fear. It is thought this belief derives from the similarity observed between common serpents and certain Ophidian creatures of malevolent nature. It is thought this belief derives from the similarity observed between common serpents and certain Ophidian creatures of malevolent nature, who holdeth the power to turn others to stone. The inner fold of their eyelid being stone as a matter of course, those who found these creatures newly slain witnessed there the power of the serpent eye. Behemoth. Being a giant lord of darkness, fashioned by the gods during the creation of heaven and earth, its muscles are hard as steel, and its bones made of bronze. Originally appearing as a great ox, the souls of the many warriors it killed in battle were altered its form forever. This diet of death has added to its skill in combat withal, as it draws strength and knowledge from the warrior souls imprisoned within its veins. If you've confidence in your abilities as an adventurer, it's said the behemoth is the perfect test of one's mettle. Should you defeat one, your confidence will grow still further, and the vitality you gain by consuming a behemoth steak will help you to get yet greater feats. In this world where the strong eat of the weak, there can be no mistaking that this is the true path of those who would succeed. Also, I like how, I'm sure there's other examples, but I like how this creature is named a behemoth, and they actually used the colors and some of the characteristics of a behemoth. That's cool. Praying mantis. Being a strain of killer mantis bearing the praying mantis. Being a strain of killer mantis bearing 4 pairs of large wings upon its back, though the wings have atrophied, a flight membrane spanning the legs suggests that these creatures were once able to fly. They are carnivorous by nature and very aggressive, attacking with their blood-red sickles held high. Many villagers call them demons, hungry for blood, and tell tales of them to scare children at night. Curious treasure. One popular theory goes that the wind carries within its gossamer folds invisible sickles, apt to swirl and cut men's flesh. When these sickles are bared, the sound of slicing wind is heard in the air, and the body is suddenly ripped and torn. As no blood comes from the cuts and there is no pain, many are they who have died without knowing aught was wrong. People call these unseen threats the sickle blades. Golem. Being a great soulless vegetative creature that supports its mass and moves about by means of extraordinarily long arms, said to be the manifestation of tree spirits from trees burned down on battlefields, golems are peaceful by nature, though they suffer no intrusion upon their territory. They are as strong as their life trees were old, so old that some are already in advanced stages of petrification even as they stand. Mirror Knight. Being a high rank of Bagoli, the armored flying weapons of war so effective in the combat against enemy soldiers it was honored with knighthood. However, with the advent of airships, the need for its presence on the battlefield decreased, and the old flights were disbanded. Though not disposed of in light of their past contributions, these once proud warriors of the sky were exiled into the wilds. Having lost reason to fly, they soon lost the ability. Having lost reason to fly, they soon lost the ability and now they crawl on the ground, hunting for prey as any common beast. Tips for the adventurer. There's good reason why smiths favor scales polished to a mirror finish when making armor. Those who see their own reflection and the rage burning in their eyes in mirror scale armor are stricken, unable to move until their enemy frees them eternally from shame. It is as though they are slain by their own image. And home stretch, I hope. Yeah. O's. Being a strain of the curl, easily identified by its black stripes on ashen fur and splendid crest. The patterning on its head grows more complex with age, with the curl possessing the most advanced whorls designated as pack leader, and those beneath it fixed in a rigid hierarchy based on their patterns. The social structure makes the O's a dangerous pack hunter. The Adventurer's Handbook. Ah, the famous curl. While one may scoff at its high-priced pelt, few are those who would pass up the chance to claim one of those distinctive whiskers. Within a monetary value, it is the sheer difficulty of obtaining this rare prize that compels the true adventurer to dust off his sword arm and take up the challenge. And what a choice! Claim the fine, expensive fur, or risk bloodying it for the chance to claim that elusive curl whisker. If this seems like the perfect conundrum to you, you're a true adventurer. Adonir. Being a warhorse, the oldest breed known in Ivalice, once belonging to a great cavalry of an ancient state known for its love of warfare. These majestic and terrifying creatures determined victory in battle in an age when cannon and the like armaments were unknown, and they were truly loved by their handlers and the people of the land they served. For their part, they harbor an undying loyalty to their homeland, though it be not more now than dust and echoes. They serve and protect its memory to this very day, though their bodies have faded and they are something near to spirits. Giru Vaganus. Holy shit. Being a tyrant worm driven to madness by mist, now a violent, capricious creature. The naturalist Merlot writes in one of her most harrowing accounts, that hideous mist which spilleth forth from its dark core raiseth a mirage before the eyes, and I am blind with fear and apprehension, for its nebulous form is madness incarnate. I pray that my skill with the blade with the blade faileth me not in this most dire circumstance. Its eyes shine with a curious luminescence, allowing it to see quite well in dark underground corridors. Gullworm. Being a dragon bound by magic so powerful, it has forgotten to die. Its life continues, though the flesh fall from its bones, and so will it continue until its bones too are nothing but dust. Only then may it rest. With the passing of eons, its intellect has faded into something primal and violent, and its dim awareness of the Life continues, though the flesh fall from its bones, and so will continue until its bones too are nothing but dust, only then may it rest. With the passing of eons, its intellect is faded to something primal and violent, and its dim awareness of its own decay makes it all the more unpredictably vicious. Vivian. Being the primordial Marlborough, born in antiquity of an elder witch, all Marlborough alive today are said to descend from the Vivian. Upon its head rests a crown, signifying its status as a queen among its kind. Over the course of its long life, its body's youthful hue has faded, now being entirely devoid of color. There are some chroniclers who hold that the witch mother of the Marlboroughs was indeed named Vivian, but there is no witch at all, but a plant creature herself. Girvagan. Ancient city said to lie deep within the Yagd Daifar. Girvagan, an ancient city said to lie deep within the Yagd Daifar. A dense mist conceals its actual location. There are those who claim that it holds the secrets of a legendary civilization that flourished before men knew the workings of the world, but none remain who know the truth. Many are the expeditions sent to find this place and record its knowledge, but most have disappeared in the Feywood, or despaired while attempting to understand what artifacts have been found. To this day, we are no closer to discovering Girvagan. Many are the expeditions sent to find this place and record its knowledge, and most have disappeared in the Feywood, or despaired while attempting to understand what artifacts have been found. To this day, we are no closer to discovering Girvagan or illuminating its mysteries. Being the primordial Marlborough, born in antiquity of an elder witch, all Marlboroughs alive today are said to descend from the Vivian. Oh, I read that. Yeah. Forbidden. Those who are born with undying souls, filled with the purest hatred and jealousy. For what sane creator would truly allow such monstrosities to exist? The gradual decay of the flesh around the elements of soul. Those who are born with undying souls, filled with purest hatred and jealousy, are vilely called the Forbidden. For what sane creator would truly allow such monstrosities to exist, being zombified as a result of the gradual decay of the flesh around the eternal soul? Yet these cursed beings have never been the subject of much study by those obsessed with the ideal of eternal life. Perhaps this is why they despised man with such venom. Those who are born with undying souls, filled with purest hatred and jealousy, are rightly called the Forbidden. For what sane creator would truly allow such monstrosities to exist, being zombified as a result of the gradual decay of the flesh around the eternal soul? Such venom. Have you heard? To Ale-Tap rumors. Have you heard? Take a broken spear and some mistletoe and wrap them in a keto board, right? And what happens? They burst into flame. Hard to believe, eh? But it's true. Why, that's the very method for making one of them Gungnir spears, so it is. Of course, you kinda just burned the wee thingies. She kind of just burned the wee thingies. You have to wait till she flares up on her own. That's all important, that is. One look at the forest fruits you labor and you'll agree it was well worth the bother. Gargoyle Baron. Jesus. Being a creature with giant white gossamer wings, its head is rather small and has a habit of wearing a small crown set with magicite. Wing-like ears are set far back on its head to pick up sounds from all around, and perhaps also to sense for shifts in the mist. Its body is covered in ashen hide, as devoid of color as its character is of warmth, its bearing being cold and merciless. One truth known is the key to 100 magics and the end to 1,000 lives. If you think you understand this ancient maxim, by all means look deeper. Perhaps there is one who will gain... Perhaps then you will gain the wisdom, if not the strength, required to wield the destructive power of the magical shard known as the Scave Mote. But I doubt it. Reaper. Great Reapers, takers of life, ghost-kin in name but gods of death and truth. Being originally sent from on high to work upon mortals, texts in all religions mention these beings with fear and awe. While each account differs, all agree on one thing. That the Reapers exist only to free the soul of its earthly bonds and bear it back to the heavens. In Zelda, they appear before us to foretell our deaths, appearing again only when the time for severing worldly ties has come. Bomb. At least these things don't fucking freak out on the screen like they were before. Being a magical construct much like a simple explosive, created by the lords of the ancient city to prevent intruders reaching its heart. Its body is formed of a strong metal of surpassing quality, beneath which seethe magics and mist under tremendous pressure. Though they are individuals, as a side effect of their simultaneous creation, they are as facets of a single consciousness, and have been known to coordinate their attacks on intruders to deadly effect. Saves knowledge, the Rosarian Empire. Empire located in the west of Erdalia, possessing an army rumored to be the equal of the Arcadian Imperial forces. Though an emperor rules, Rosaria is a military state. and the armed forces carry much political power. In recent years, the Margrace imperial family has sought to limit the military's power, embarking on a series of reforms to restrict the scope of their authority. Arcadia's unprovoked invasion in Dalmasca sent shockwaves to the Rosarian establishment, and many are those who see a war between empires looming on the horizon. Mithril Golem. Being a magical construct fashioned of pure mithril. Though mithril's strength in proportion to its weight surpasses any other metal, many layers of such were used in the construction of this golem, sacrificing lightness for sheer durability. Machines of war, the destructive power of these golems is greatly feared on the battlefield. The Annals. In the deepest reaches of the past, an underground kingdom there was, and here did they make the metal known as mithril, a metal so strong that even magma cannot mar it. The Flame Gigas saw this and were displeased, and so did they launch a grand assault on the kingdom under the earth. At the end of a long, brutal war, the Gigas were defeated, yet the kingdom too fell into ruin, sinking deeper still beneath the surface, away from the light and into obscurity, until it and its prized mithril were discovered by adventurers centuries later. Enlightened into obscurity until it and its prized mithril were discovered by adventurers centuries later. Necrophobe. Being a particularly accursed variety of ghost, that fearing death so greatly, wanders in denial of its own demise. So irrational is his fear, he is certain that all who cross his path mean him mortal harm, and so strikes first. It is recorded in the annals that once, when a score of these cruelly afflicted beings appeared in a village, they were halted by magical panels facing each of the cardinal directions, this device barring all misfortune from entering the homes of the people who lived there. Safe though they were, the villagers were nonetheless besieged. Fearing starvation as much as the violence of their enemy, many contemplated suicide, but as the sun set on the third day, they realized they peered through their windows to find that the ghosts had vanished. Safe though they were, the villagers were nonetheless besieged. Fearing starvation as much as the violence of their enemy, many contemplated suicide, but as the sun set on the third day, they peered through the windows to find that the ghosts had vanished, never to be seen again. Deathclaw. Being a variety of mantis having a brown shell-like husk, The anterior wings are vestigial, having lost much of their flight membranes. The stripes on its mantle increase in number at a rate of 1 per year, while its sickle forelimbs grow harder with age, eventually becoming desiccated and stone-like. The Reederana Cataract. A strange opening in the seafloor that has created an endless whirlpool, drawing the endless sea ever downwards. An island is situated at the catapult's edge. Surrounding the sea ever downwards. An island is situated at the cataract's edge, on which stands a great pharos surrounded by ancient ruins. Its size suggests that once a giant city flourished here, but of its rise and fall, nothing is known. The area surrounding this island is yogged, preventing approach by airship, while the proximity of the cataract and its tidal pole make it impossible to reach the island by sea. Cassie. Being a violent strain of the Marlborough created in experimentation by the natural philosopher Catherine Asua, an expert of great renown specializing in the physiology of plants. The wild cassie, as her creation became known, spread on account of a researcher who carried seeds out of her laboratory. The cassie is easily identifiable by its ruddy brown coloration and curious patch of gold fur. Its creator shall never know respite from guilt until the day when the last cassie is thrown into the mulch pile. Jesus. There's a charm, the working of which requires that one draw 9 stars upon a prayer board in the blood of Cassie. Depending upon the configuration of the stars, the board may be used for the wardening of evil, fulfillment of pure wishes, or other such noble cause. On the configuration of the stars, the board may be used for the warding of evil, the fulfillment of pure wishes, or other such noble cause. This Kedu board is popular amongst market-goers, being one of the most widely available charms today. We're in the big chunk now. Abaddon. Being beasts born from the bones of an ancient creature that has long lain dead within the Pharos. Of these, the most violent are called bulls, and greatly feared by even their own kin. Thick purple veins stripe its body, constantly oozing a viscous liquid, by which action impurities are removed from the creature's blood. The foul discharge serves also as a slippery second skin. Purple veins stripe its body, constantly oozing a viscous liquid by which action impurities are removed from the creature's blood. The foul discharge serves also as a slippery second skin, deflecting the blazing claws of those who would do it harm. Chimera Brain. Oh, what the hell? That face. Sorcerers twisted into fell beings by the spiteful magics of rivals. Though full half of their wit be dissipated by ensorcelment, they still possess great magical power. Perhaps because of their history, they fear mages greatly, and travel in packs for strength. Report number A0075OPOD. Eat the head of the wise, and his wisdom you shall gain, like eating food whence to gain nourishment. To determine the truth of this, I have just now eaten a whole chimera head. No effects as yet. On the morrow we shall see. No further entries. Coacher no longer at large. Investigation closed by Imperial Decree. Sergeant Zerse of the 8th. Crusader. Being an undead warrior of some former renown, wearing armor of polished mithril. In life, these fell soldiers belonged to an invading army that massacred many people. In life, these fell soldiers belonged to an invading army that massacred many people. It was the hatred of the slain that cursed the warriors, condemning them to an eternal unlife of aimless wandering. Scourged with remorse for their crimes and hatred for those who led the invasion, they ceaselessly roamed the world, hoping one day to claim revenge. Ale-tap rumors. There's a rare metal called gem steel, found only in the hidden enclaves of warriors. The manner of its making is shrouded in mystery, but the finished product is traded commonly enough. Why, I should think that gem steel would show up in the bazaar stall sooner or later, if enough raw materials found their way to market. I'm sure that one of them would turn out to be the secret ingredient. Bardock, thaumaturgist. Aeronite. Being a creature of extreme rarity, its body lighter than the air itself. Vents upon its back belch heat and steam upward, keeping the creature from floating too high. Should these vents be damaged, it would rise up and be carried away on the winds. Aeronites are revered among many cultures as a symbol of homelessness. Aaronites are revered among many cultures as a symbol of holiness, appearing as a motif in sculpture and murals. Concerning heraldry, the airship armadas of one far-off land display a brood red wyvern wing as their heraldic crest. In this land, colors are used to distinguish class, with red being most auspicious and thus highest in rank, used both for the royal family and I. The Red Wing Armada is said to be the strongest in the world and serves as an excellent deterrent to invasion. Fucking Red Wings brought up once again. Brain Pan. Being statues of ill-favored aspect set inside the great Pharos. It is said they were created in antiquity to protect the magicite that lies sleeping at the very top of the tower. Yet the magical power of the stone they were set to guard corrupted them, and became twisted and evil, attacking all without pause or purpose. Strong magic seethed within these statues, gradually building up before disrupting them from their patterns. Sorry. Before erupting them from their mouths in rays of brilliant light. The Age of Gods. Many thousand years ago, all-powerful beings looked down upon the land, and their rule was absolute. They commanded all things on the earth. All was done according to their will. Then one day they withdrew behind the walls of a great city of their own making, disappearing from history's stage. In the vacuum left behind, Ivalice fell into chaos until the march towards a new age finally began. Idar. Being a statue of stone set to protect the holy magicite that lies sleeping within the Pharos. Its surface is caked with the dried blood and gore of countless creatures who have died trying to claim the stone for themselves. The statue has been worked with numerous mechanisms for stopping intruders to the Pharos, though such subtleties have long since been lost to a mist-induced madness that now possessed this construct. A certain kind of metal is always used when making statues of protection. This orichalcum is a curious metal indeed, ever burning with a cold flame. That it appears as a flame, in fact, has led to the belief that orichalcum is no true substance. But combine an incandescent flame with the cool burning flame of the metal, and the energy given off as a result will be quite well enough to an incandescent flame with the cool burning flame of the metal, and the energy given off as a result will be quite real enough to convince even the stubbornest skeptic. This is the power that moves the statues. Mistmare. Being a variety of malachite, whose plant-like covering is withered and turned a dull blue. It thrives on mist itself, even absorbing hostile magics on occasion, hence requiring no food or other material sustenance. Its dependence on mist and the fearful reports of black mages who saw their finest magics consumed earned it its name. Street corner musings. Man, monster, all heed the sway of the stars. All lives are guided by 12 stars, and the star to which you belong determines your fate. When the fire of a life dies, sometimes, rarely, it leaves behind a gemstone of great beauty. When the wheels of fate stop, and the soul leaves its starry home, then does it become a jewel. Unknown astrologer. Oi. Spear tongue. Being a land-dwelling toad, lacking the webbed digits of its waterborne kin. Found most often in arid climes, their skin secretes an oil, thereby to prevent loss of moisture. Their hindquarters are well suited to traveling on land, and they rear up on them when threatened, freeing their powerful forelimbs for attack. There's a trick to getting your hands on some of the salve known as frog oil. See, the oil runs through the body along with the blood, and then when it reaches the head horns, only the oil is secreted from the tips, so that's where you need to look. However, should you kill the creature, blood and oil will congeal, making the oil impossible to extract. That's why if you need a lot of oil, you have to Or should you kill the creature, blood and oil will congeal. That's why if you need a lot of oil, you need to cut the horns off while the creature is still alive. Didn't say it was easy. Scythe mantis. Being a variety of mantis with purple and blue coloration, feared for its aggressive nature, and the sharp sickle-like claws with which it rends and dismembers foes. Their claws are made from an incredibly hard metallic substance, serving both as weapons and as shields against enemies' attacks. Its celadon stripes shift hues with the light, making the woven patterns seem to float above the surface of the creature's carapace. Line. Should I chance to gaze upon but one more of these foul-fetid, green slime-coated atrocities, me too. Should I chance to gaze upon but one more of these foul-fetid, green slime-coated atrocities, I shall surely lose what wit remaineth to me, wrote the naturalist Merlot after encountering this vile strain of flan. Their bodies absorb light, which they then emit to lure prey in the gloom of caverns. They are also able to release light in a dazzling flash, temporarily blinding foes. With their giant mouths, they swallow prey whole, using the nutrients from their food to divide and multiply, creating ever more flankin to terrorize and disgust. I just heard a noise. Pumping noise? Oh my god, that's next door. Guys, make this insane. Right. Curious treasure. Pure extract of oil from the creature known as the slime has been garnering the attention of natural philosophers. This slime oil has been found to have wondrous properties when used as a base or reagent in the making of medicines and various tinctures. Though the specific means of its use are closely guarded, it is clear that the special attributes of slime oil make it better than oil from other sources. We can but hope that our chefs do not discover it to be well suited to cookery. Bogey. Those ghosts of the highest mark are called bogies. When men die still clinging to fierce passion, that passion stains their souls a deep black. Should these polluted souls not be purified, in due time they become bogies. Once such a transformation occurs, even should they be slain, they will inevitably rise again given time, inspired to yet greater hatred and wild violence than in their last incarnation. Malikan. Oh? I lost it. Oh my god. Being an eldritch fiend with tentacles grown on account of its feeding on Marlboros. Formerly an herbivore, its mutation has given it the Marlboro's appetite for flesh. Using the sharp spikes that grow at the tips of its tentacles, it stabs at its enemies' vitals with disheartening accuracy. It is said that should each tentacle find its mark, a man would die before sensing the merest touch. Curious treasure. Demons rejoice in tempting man with bewitching words. Sweet as nectar, luring all but those with the most stolid of natures. Of all their temptations, one of the most famous is the magic lamp, said to grant wishes, which indeed it does, though the price be mortally dear. Shambling corpse. Being a congregation of souls with ties to this world so strong they could not go on to the next. Within its frame more than 100 souls reside, forcibly fused into a single being, a single flesh. Each of the souls yearns for what it once had in life, making this horrific creature a violent, twisted thing, racked with confusion and hatred for the living. The town crier, hear ye, case of the shambling corpse solved. The facts behind the death of a young boy at the hands of a shambling corpse a fortnight past have been uncovered. Upon examination of the body, the zombie, it was found that the necklace it wore belonged to a certain young maiden of which the boy was fond, thereby proving that the shambling corpse was none other than his bonny lass. This bloodstained necklace was apparently a handmade gift from the victim, though as to why the girl was wearing it when she rose from her early grave and why she attacked her former love, nothing is known at present. Jean of the Night, hey! It's been a while. How are you doing? You're doing one of my favorite grinds. Reading. Now I'm incredibly tired, so I'm taking a lot of pauses. But we will be catching up on this tonight. The next stream, tomorrow night, we will continue the story. Post haste. I do have a PC. What is the question? Oh, look at this guy. Beware. Being a creature of an eerie blue complexion with dragon-like wings upon its back. The Beware prefers to live in dark, dry environs. Though its surroundings be warm, it ever walks in a cloud of cold, evil airs, sending a chill up the spine of any who encounter. It has long been said that when one feels a chill, a Beware is watching you, and they are widely hated and feared as bringers of ill fortune. Would I be willing to stream a visual novel? I have streamed many visual novels. And I have intentions of streaming many more. Unfortunately, I don't really take requests, as I often have like a lot of my games scheduled and planned out, but if you tell me what visual novel it is, and it's probably on my list, I can push it up in priority. Just no promises. JPDE. Let me see. Yeah, I know, I know not taking requests is not very, viewer friendly. But, I don't know. I have never heard of this. Oh, it's based on Ruby? Interesting. Just producing digital entertainment. Optional 18 plus content. It's rather good, and I want to see where people are streaming it, so I thought, why not ask you since I like your voice and all. Oh, thank you. Hey, I'll add it to the consideration. What? How long is it? I got a lot of games coming out soon. That I want to play. And I'm also actually taking almost 3 weeks off soon, too, so. But this looks interesting. Took you 7 Hikikomori days to beat the first time. Oof. Oof. And that's usually worse when I'm being from the time I get up to the time I crash. Holy shit. That's usually worse on my end because like I'm reading it out loud and it takes a long time. So that's a big time commitment, but I'll keep it in mind. I am adding it, and one day I will get to it. I will check it out. Hopefully by then I will also have watched Ruby. Although I'm reading here, it only goes, well, this is probably an outdated wiki. It says it only goes through between volume 2 and 3, which I have watched that much at least. Yeah, I like visual novels. So far, everyone I got to read it has loved it. Nice. I like visual novels, and I also know how it is to not have anyone read a visual novel you want them to read. So, I feel it. By the way, you should check out Umi Neko. It's one of my favorite visual novels. Actually, I would say, when people ask me, I'd say that Umi Neko is literally my favorite piece of media ever created. And it all started with watching the Higurashi anime, which I still need to do. I'm probably going to end up streaming the Higurashi visual novel at some point, because I have to take Bree through the Umi Neko visual novel, so I'll be streaming that all over again. It was one of the first games I streamed. It took me so long, but yeah. You don't actually need to watch RWBY as you play an amnesiac to the game, so the game assumes you're a moron, so it'll explain everything as you need to know it. How cool. Well, still, I've watched enough RWBY, it seems, to kind of understand. I fully intend on finishing watching RWBY. It's just everything I intend on doing takes 100 years. Like, yeah, I intended on playing Final Fantasy 12 for 6 years. Now I'm playing it. Oh my god. I yearn to turn this into a full-time job so I can just tear through games like wet paper. But I don't have the kind of audience for that. Alright. Oh man. It's almost 3. Alright. Let me keep reading. Try to get some more of this done because I want to get back to the story. But I have so much bestiary. As far as I will, anyone just watch the first 5 volumes and headcanon the rest. You can't pick up worse than the last 4 volumes. Listen, I have heard so many things about RWBY. I'm probably gonna watch the whole thing. And, you know, just from the things I've heard about RWBY, from the different anecdotes, the different thoughts and feelings that people have, I'm probably gonna lay somewhere on the spectrum that just, like, you know, everyone has that point, it seems, with RWBY, where they feel like it's gone off the deep end. And it's always different, no matter who you talk to. I've seen some funny memes and jokes, though, about the state of it. Like, my favorite meme that I have little to no context for was the whole thing where... Is her name Ruby? The main girl? Her name is Ruby, right? She's like, there was this meme that she's homophobic because she yells at Yang or something in one of the later seasons. It's funny. It's funny. Even without the full context. Yeah, Ruby Rose, yeah. I love the music. I actually, so does Brie. My whole basis on taking Brie to the Sonic Symphony and getting her into Sonic was because Casey Lee Williams does the Sonic Symphonies, like a lot of them, and it just so happened that the one we went to, Casey Lee Williams did just about every song. She usually does like a couple songs, but like she did like just about every song. And she also did her own song for the Shadow Generations animation. And she performed that live acoustic at the symphony, and that was amazing. It was incredible. I'm reading more bestiary. Curious treasure. What a work of art, to capture the eyes of so many and draw a sigh from even the most heartless of creatures. Yet because of its enchanting beauty, each one after being made is stolen forthwith, and now none care to make these priceless artifacts. The only ones who remember their true beauty are the demons that clutch them to their breasts, in pleasure born of avarice. They are called the Demon's Sigh, and the world shall never know their like again. One thing I wish I could fix about myself is, when I've been reading for quite a long time, I have this stutter. I don't start out with it. And I just, mid-sentence, my jaw just vibrates. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on? Again, Volume 9 makes me want to go to Dallas to commit various war crimes. Oh my god. You may be disappointed by my opinion on it when I finally get there. I mean, I liked Season 2 of Iron Fist. I also kind of liked the second half of the first season of Iron Fist. I will admit the first half of the first season is terrible, and Iron Fist is the weakest of the Marvel shows. But, no. Rooster Teeth is based in Dallas, if you didn't know. Ah, yeah, I mean, I figured. I kinda guessed. Adaman Titan. Of the great shelled Titan toises, the strain with the shell of the hardest metal is the Adaman Titan. The naturally occurring adamantite that forms its shell cannot be manufactured, making the creature famous among metalworkers. They are remarkable for the slowness of their growth, requiring several thousands of years to reach maturity. Peripteryx. Peripteryx? Being a strain of diver favoring clement, hilly areas, often seen catching the updrafts that blow in from the Naldoan Sea. Their splendidly colored wings are quite distinctive and coveted for use in the making of many objects, both practical and ornamental. The flight pinions in particular fetch a good price at market. Yeah. Ugh. Whoops. Though the armor you wear may be dented and split, listen well before you discard it on the corpse piles of your foemen. Should it still have the form, even if not the function, of a suit of armor, there are many who would buy it in the market. Though there are few who know this, it is the framework of the armor that decides its worth, not the condition of each plate or fitting. So if you find yourself in the possession of a suit of split armor, should it be armor of good crafting, then it shall surely find new life at the hands of an armorer skilled in repair. Vandercurl. Being a variety of curl living in warm, mountainous regions, whose green fur closely matches the color of alpine vegetation. It is easily recognizable by its long whiskers and tail, the tips of which turn a ruddy red, these being rich in blood vessels, aiding the dispersal of body heat. This unique adaptation allows them to run very long distances without tiring, making them better hunters than others of their species. Cerobi Steppe, hilly highlands region in the east of Arcadia, through which the high road to Balfenheim port passes. Air currents are notoriously unstable between Cerobi and Balfenheim, making land routes here as popular as those of the air. In the past, villagers in the region erected windmills to catch the winds from the Naldoan Sea, and used them to mill grain from the harvest. With advancements in the use of magics and machineries, however, the windmills fell into disuse and now stand merely as a reminder of the past. Fieldworm. Being one of the most powerful dragons ever to roam Ivalice. Though nothing is known about the ancient beings who placed the ring on this worm's neck, it is clearly meant to offer some kind of magical protection in battle, indicating that these dragons were once used as weapons of war. Nor is it known what these creatures were directed to attack, but surely it was something truly fearsome. In modern times, its nigh impenetrable hide has earned it the nickname of the Walking Fortress among adventurers. Hear ye! No other society is as difficult to penetrate as the Iron Stomach. Legendary Tasting Guild. The competition for entry is fierce, and the trials required nigh on impossible to overcome. The trial for entry this year: submit the monster liver best suited to gourmet creations. It is thought the markets will soon be flooded with ringworm livers and the like, as everyone tries to guess just which creature's liver can make the judges' mouths water. Emerald Item. Being a primal race, the oldest of the long-lived Great Titan Twices, their existence is referred to only briefly in legend, and in the absence of a verifiable sighting. They were considered to be a myth for centuries. However, in recent years, they have suddenly appeared, and are feared in some regions as the Oroton Eater, Scourge of the Oroton Yensa. The oldest chronicles relate the properties of a rare metal called scarlatite. In an age when men lived under the watchful guard of the gods granted them scarlatite, for they were favored of their creators. Modern alchemy has to date failed to reproduce this metal, lending credit to the theory that the gods did exist and are not merely the inventions of a devout imagination. Only by mixing with other metals and lowering the purity of the substance may it be worked with modern tools. Lanier. Being a manifest soul of a warhorse, perished in the tragedy of Nabudis. The axe-like crest it wears was used for lowered head charges into enemy formations. Training as a charger has refined its aggressive nature and given it unswerving loyalty. Its barding is of the Nebradian style, the method of its making now a lost art. Origin of customs. The Lanier, possessing a wild and wholly untamable disposition, is a surprisingly social creature, able to share thoughts and feelings with its kin over great distances. Because of this, many people worship the Lanier, especially such who wish to form a special bond with another. Indeed, it is customary for lovers to send a war god's band to the object of their affections, this being the perfect expression of both violent passion and kindred feeling from afar. Banshee. Oh, he's strutting. Appearing in places where much life has been lost, these zombies cry for those who can no longer weep for lack of eyes, and wail for those who can no longer moan for lack of throats. Should you hear their mournful dirge, you would shiver and weep, and when the tears dried, you would take your own life for sorrow. Should you wander a battlefield and hear the cry of one who should not be crying, cover your ears, my child, cover your ears. The Annals. It is recorded in the Chronicles that the fearsome army led by the Mad King Dornius was a legion of zombies, such as has never been seen before or since. Though the neighboring lands prepared for it, the war they feared never came, for in the space of a night the king and his army and all the people of his land disappeared, leaving naught behind them but ruins and swirling zombie powder. The circumstance of their passing is a mystery never like to be explained. Fubar. This guy looks cool. It's all sparkly. Be an amorph said to come from a sea of blood, found most commonly near battlefields and other places where battle gore flows in rivers. A constant internal burning sets the crimson spray splashed upon it to boiling, spreading the rusted iron scent of old blood in the air, a scent known to call other spirits of the dead. With this in mind, should you happen to encounter one of these foul things, be done with it quickly, or you may find that you have more on your hands than you bargained for. Neighborious Deadlands, one place once known as Nabardis, the prosperous capital of Nabradia. In the war against Arcadia 2 years ago, the city was utterly destroyed, leaving nothing but an eerie waste of swirling mist. Even by day, the sun does not penetrate that ever-present fog. Beneath it, the dense mist has given rise to all manner of bizarre flora and fauna of an invariably vicious temperament. Yeah, we're not getting this done tonight. I will push 3:30. Let's try to get as much of it done as possible. Oh, these are marks, so they'll only have one page each, which is good. Oh, a lot of these are only going to have one page each. So it's not too bad. Oversoul. Being a reaper born of a magical oath so terrible it took form, appearing in places where much magic is woven, searching in vain for the words that gave it its existence. They may travel the breadth of the world in a mere instant, a matter of much interest to many scholars, pirates, and soldiers, for if man were able to grasp the means by which such transport is effected, it could change the very face of Evilise. Though it be the avatar of an evil soul, this does not mean its heart is wholly given to corruption. For as there exists no perfect good in this world, there exists no perfect evil. Take the Oversoul, for instance. Truly as black a concentration of evil as ever there was, but here too we find a sliver of goodness, the soul of Thamasa. For it is truly a light of unclouded love, and a boon from heaven to the saviors of souls. It's so dry. I gotta get it wet. Babil. Priests of high enough rank to speak directly to the gods are alone allowed to communicate with these executors of the divine will. Their bodies are fashioned of a curious crystalline metal, composition and nature of which is beyond modern metallurgical knowledge. When they descend to the earth from their home in the heavens, they strike swiftly and with malice apparent. It is thought the Babil's numbers are growing, and some scholars warn that a great reckoning may soon be at hand. Morgan's research notes. The emissaries of the gods descend to us from the paradise far above the sky we know. Therefore must they travel between the land and the sky, for which they use the wondrous metal Einurjorium, otherwise known as Cloudstone. The Babil, servants of the gods, have bodies rich in the substance. How many have tried to steal the Cloudstone from them and thereby reach paradise? How many have the gods stricken down for that heresy? Elverit. A beast whose vestigial wings are now naught but bone. Concentrated mist spills forth from its body in such powerful waves that to stand in its way is to risk losing both body and soul in one fell attack. Perhaps this is why the name of the Elverit is so often heard in the tavern when the passions flare, the direness of the creature adding weight to the most vehement of drunken oaths. Hear ye, there has been an announcement regarding the sudden failing health of Lord Cupper, known for his crapulous ways and fondness of spirits. Based upon the testimony given by Lord Copper upon his regaining consciousness, the cause of his collapse in the lower market has been determined beyond a shadow of a doubt. It appears that in an attempt to distill the legendary demon drink, he had been experimenting, a process which involved consuming roughly 10 half casks of alcoholic beverage a day. Lord Copper himself admits his excess, and has promised to confine himself to wine, knowing it to be of a beneficial nature, and amounts not exceeding 2 half casks per day. This guy's got a silly face. Dark Elemental. Being an elemental of darkness, born of a fusion of powerful hatred and mist. Dark elementals are born only in places where living creatures have perished with vengeance unexacted, rising from the spilled blood of the dead. Though they are not by nature evil, they suffer no challenge and will drag those they deem foes into the darkness. Kingdom in Nabradia, a land neighboring Dalmasca, both kingdoms being founded by the bloodline of the Dynast king, who first unified Ivalice under one rule. Graced with beautiful landscapes and rich natural resources, Nabradia prospered for many years as a center of both agriculture and industry. 2 years ago, an internal struggle boiled over into civil war, this opening the door to the Arcadian invasion of Nabradia. Several days after the beginning of the siege of Nabardis, a mysterious explosion consumed the city, leaving a smoking ruin where the political and cultural heart of Nabradia once stood, and sounding the death knell for the kingdom. Zombie Warlock. Being court mages who have magicked themselves into zombies in a fruitless quest to understand Providence. And well they knew the price, for to possess skill in magics of such caliber requires no small knowledge of the art, yet for truth no cost would be too dear. Thus do they continue to embrace zombification, and thus do the common people fear them, calling them warlocks and barring them from the places they knew in life. Necrohall of Nabardis. Palace once home to the royal family in Nabradia. Called the Verd Pale Palace, it once stood proudly in the middle of the lake. Now it stands in ruin, destroyed in the attack on Nabardis 2 years ago. Though the ghost of the building remains in the crumbling walls, it is wholly gutted and lies half submerged in murk. Now mist flows freely through its abandoned halls, and its glorious memory is profaned by a menagerie of vile creatures. Tomos. Being a mutant slave in its body encrusted with all manner of precious crystals. With passing on months and years, the impurities in these crystals are gradually absorbed by the creature, purpling their natural ochre hue to a beautiful sunset. These crystals to beautiful effect. Blech. These crystals are traded for a high price, making their bearers the target of much overhunting by soldiers tasked with acquiring funds for Arcadia's war effort. So have these slaven learned to fear and attack men, and for this reason was a bill for this mark posted. Roblong. Being a magical construct of iron, faithful to its master always, heeding neither call nor command of any other. This method of control is called Morgan styling, after the famous golemologist Morgan. This particular golem is the creation of the great man's son, who was lost in battle soon thereafter. Now as Roblon rampages, masterless, wild, and newly marked. Break. Break! Such a funny name. Oh my god. Fearsome stallion burning bright in the jungle of the night. It is thought this fell equine was created when lightning struck a nightmare, lodging a lightning elemental within its form. Its supple metallic hide is a fantastic material, being at once both flexible and hard. Recent incidents involving attacks upon trading caravans led one victim to post a bill for this mark. Darksteel. Being a variety of Titan toys so rare, as to near extinction, having a great shell. Its destructive nature and violent tendencies towards man and other creatures, particularly anything standing in its way, have earned it the reputation when traveling among travelers as a scourge. Thus did an anxious wayfarer post a bill for this mark. Nidhogg. Formerly living in the depths of the Lushu mines, this creature was ousted from its lair after it was defeated by an antlion in a squabble over territory. Of late, this Nidhogg has appeared near the collection area where it pesters and annoys the mine workers. It was one of these sorely harassed folks who posted a bill for this mark. Viral. Being a variety of the dragon Avis with scales of an exceedingly hard nature. The material of these scales is known for its smoothness and durability, as well as its surpassing lightness. Though normally given to lurking in mountain passes and the like, during rutting season, the worm expands its range and becomes rather hostile. A victim of the creature's attacks, one Viera Wayfarer posted a bill for this mark. White moose. Rarely during the little understood process of subdivision by which flan multiply, a flan of purest white is born, this being the white moose. Known for its tendency to swallow prey whole, its digestion requiring no masticatory assistance. Posted as a mark by a certain Moogling Moogle, who lost an article of some value. Alright, 10 more minutes. Lindworm, World Destroyer, Dragon of Ruin. Thus was the fell creature called in a kingdom now lost in antiquity. According to noted tale-teller Fulman, the people of this forgotten land challenged the worm countless times, sealing it noted tale-teller Fulman, the people of this forgotten land challenged the worm countless times, sowing it at last within a holy shrine at the cost of many lives. It was Fulman who posted a bill for this mark to ascertain the truth of his theories. Ringworm, once a legendary worm in servitude to a righteous king, but this king, fearing its violent and untamable temperament, employed a ring of binding upon it, imprisoning the creature within a howling sandstorm. Now many ages later, the bonds have been broken, and within the sandstorm, the war rages. The Resistance forces training in the Dalmasca Western Sand have deemed the creature a clear threat to their operations and thus have issued a bill for the sport. Overlord. Fearsome are the indescribable, formless horrors, yet more fearsome still are those who mock the form of man, such as this headless giant living in the darkest reaches of a cave, palace, where no light ventures. Originally a two-headed guardian of the gates of hell, its fortunes changed when one head turned against its master and both were taken in punishment. Its body then being cast upon the earth to suffer. It is said that the only true warrior may best one of these. And so did a Sikh post a will in hope of act on his behalf. So that only a true warrior may best one of these, so did a Sikh post a will and hope upon a true warrior to act on his behalf. Wyvern Lord. This winged monster was sighted by Imperials investigating the Nan Yent's ascendancy, left unpatrolled since the fall of Rabanastre. Several incidents involving damage to property have resulted from its violent disposition and tendency to strike anything that moves. Bill posted by a well-meaning Imperial soldier seeking to ensure the safety of the city. Goliath. A magical fiend of great size, appearing sometime after the destruction of Nabadis. The manner of its fashioning and the source of its power are both mysteries, its apparent materials and accoutrement being wholly different from other such constructs. Of late, interest in this fiend has spread beyond the usual scholarly crowd, leading Barong, an aspiring author of bestiaries, to post a bill for this mark. Narrowth. Being a creature of legend, described as a holy spirit of flame in bestiaries of yore, while more practical modern observers have contented themselves describing it as extremely violent, possessed of an insatiable appetite for flesh, hunting it being difficult in the extreme. The viscous secretion of its scales is comprised of an alcohol. Thank God. Alcohol hot as flame itself, and possessed of much alimentation, being therefore prized above all else as an ingredient in the fermentation of fine serpent wines. The proprietor of a tavern known for exotic potables posted a bill for this mark. Scythe. That's my favorite Gundam. Being a Reaper born of the abiding regret and lust for vengeance felt by those warriors who perished in the destruction of Navudis. It remembers its patriotism even in undeath, and so appears in dreams, speaking words of doom to those who would disturb the palace. Richard Popol, who most unwisely looted a corpse in Necrohall, has issued a bill for this mark so that he may again know sleep's sweet embrace. Enceladus. Elder species of Slaven grown enormous over long years of evolution. Portions of its body have petrified even as it lives, becoming hard as stone. Many swords and arrows lodged in its hide much resemble those resemble those employed in ancient warfare, testifying to the long, difficult life led by this creature. A group of Garif, curious to see a clan hunter's first-hand petition for this hunt. Death Gaze. Being a giant dragon of a rich violet hue, spending most of its life in the rarefied airs above the clouds, though only appearing before men when its territory is threatened. Though incidents involving airships were once quite common, of late the Great Worm has only been spotted at a distance. A boy traveling with his family posted a bill for this mark. That is a cool looking design. I like the colors on the wings and stuff like that. On the horns. Oh well. Well, we hit 3:30. Let's see how much we got left. We will be doing all of these tomorrow and hopefully starting back on story right after. But we made, I don't know, I'd say okay progress. Personally. Save data. Alright. Took me 2 hours just to read Bestiary. I mean, I was also kind of losing it. I'm so tired. But we're here, we're ready. As soon as we're done reading the rest of the Bestiary, we're heading straight into the dungeon. Where does this take us? Just out of curiosity. in here. Probably gonna have to go through that though. Yeah. Well, I got one shortcut. Alright, well that's it. I'm done. I'm gonna go get some sleep. I'll be on tomorrow with more Final Fantasy XII. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you and have a good night.